Hello.
All right.
It is early March 2020, and we are out on the Appalachian Trail for what is planned to be a 4-day backpacking adventure from Max Patch through the town of Hot Springs up to Rich Mountain Fire Tower and then back down. We just got dropped off by Bill. Thank you, Bill, for the shuttle.
Thank you, Bill.
And our biggest challenge of the trip is definitely going to be the weather. We have a chance for some rain and some snow over the next 24 hours. We got several nights of low to mid 20s. We got some wind coming through, but we're looking forward to making the best of it. We're excited to be out.
Hell yeah.
We're ready to hit the trail.
Woo! Woo.
Heading up to the summit of Max Patch, and we're already getting some incredible views out here. Hopefully these clouds don't bring any rain or snow, but they very well might. Made it to the top of Max Patch.
Woo!
It's a beautiful day. It's my first time to Max Patch. It's Max's first time to Max Patch since doing the AT many years ago. And it's also Joey's first time to Max Patch.
Hey, buddy.
I think we're pretty impressed.
I mean, it's okay.
Home sweet home. We've made it to camp for the night. We're about 0.2 miles before Lemon Gap. We've got a nice wide open site here, good water source, some places to take a seat. We're gonna get ready and enjoy the rest of our evening.
Woo!
Max Patch, a rare southern Appalachian bald, was cleared to make way for pasture land in the 1800s. In the 1920s, there was an airplane landing strip on top. Today, the Forest Service uses mowing and prescribed burns to maintain the clear bald, and the Appalachian Trail has traversed Max Patch since the land moved into public ownership during the early 1980s. On this trip, we're using the National Geographic French Broad River Map, number 782. Let's take a look at the map for day 1. We started today at the Max Patch parking area. We hit the summit and then continued along the Appalachian Trail for several miles until we set up camp about 0.2 miles before Lemon Gap. Today was about 6 miles in total. All right.
Woo!
We've made it to the end of our first day here along the Appalachian Trail. We have honestly had a great first day. The views from Max Patch were outstanding. We had a lot of great forest hiking, streamside hiking, a couple pretty sweet waterfalls even through the trees.
A lot of cascades and stuff.
A beautiful, beautiful day. The weather has been super cooperative with us. We were expecting a mixture of rain and snow today, and we have gotten neither so far. So, two thumbs up.
2 thumbs up on the weather, 1 thumb down on our first gear failure.
We
My filter's clogged.
Yeah, we had a gear failure with the filter clog. My filter was pretty clogged as well. We were able to do a little backcountry back flushing with the sport cap on the smart water bottle, and it got us a little bit of a flow. So
it does work.
we're gonna get through the next couple days on my filter and Max's filter. But other than that, it's been a really great day. We've had a great time, good company. Looking forward to the rest of the trip. We're gonna get dinner cooked up here tonight, get some warm food and warm beverages in us, and then get ready for the first night of the trip.
Yeah, man.
Good night. The town of Hot Springs, which was originally known as Warm Springs until a hotter spring source was discovered, has been a resort destination since the early 19th century. In World War I, parts of the town served as an internment camp for German prisoners of war. Today, Hot Springs is one of the premier trail towns along the AT's 2,100-mile length. Good morning. Made it to day 2.
Good morning.
We had a pretty good night last night. Stayed a little bit above freezing for us. We did have a rain shower come through, but would rather it come through at night than during the day, so no big deal there. We've got a pretty solid day coming up today. We have 2 decent climbs this morning, and then we'll have a good downhill portion in the afternoon. Once again, the weather will be our biggest challenge of the day, probably. The highs are supposed to be a little bit below 40, and then we could see gusts of wind up to 40 miles an hour as well, so that could cut through pretty cold.
I think it's supposed to be anywhere between 0 and 120.
Other than that, we've got a solid day planned for us, and then we'll get through it no matter what comes our way.
Well, we're a bit chilly this morning, especially after filtering some water. But the one guy that's staying nice and toasty is my man. How's it going this morning, Layne?
It's good. Warming the hands up after filtering the water. That was a cold blast.
Yeah, man. That nice cold air with some nice cold stream water. That's a good combination. What you think, Max? You nice and warm yet? You sweating?
Not quite yet. I'm ready to get moving. Just for warming up, really.
All right. Day 2.
Making our way along the Appalachian Trail this morning. It is a blustery day. We're getting some snow flurries out here, but nothing too bad. We've got a beautiful view now that we made it to the top of this climb.
Yeah, that turns an icicle.
We are very thankful that this is coming down in snow and not rain. Walking in a winter wonderland. There's a couple raccoons down at the water source getting in some water on this cold day. There's 3 of them. They look pretty chunky too. Home sweet home. We've made it to camp for the night at Deer Park Mountain Shelter. We're looking forward to getting out of the wind and the snow. A pretty sight up here. A sight for sore eyes.
Beautiful.
Let's take a look at the map for day 2. We started today at our campsite a little bit before Lemon Gap, and then we followed the Appalachian Trail all day over Bluff Mountain, continuing on until we reached the Deer Park Mountain Shelter, where we spent the night. Day 2 was about 11 miles. All right,
Woo!
we made it to the end of day 2. Very challenging day today. Not a super hard day in terms of mileage or elevation, although we had a little bit of both, but mostly due to the driving, unrelenting wind, and the snowfall that accompanied it.
Had about a 15-second blizzard.
A little blizzard action out there, but you know, we made it through, and we're set up in the shelter tonight, so hopefully we'll be able to cuddle together and stay warm. Tomorrow we're gonna go down into the town of Hot Springs and then pop up to the top of Ridge Mountain. So we should have a nice day tomorrow. We're gonna get some dinner cooked up, probably have an early bedtime tonight, and get ready for another day tomorrow. Good night. Good morning.
Good morning.
Made it to day 3. We had a decent night last night. It got pretty chilly, but fortunately the shelter helped keep us from freezing, and it kept the wind off, which we were very thankful for. Today is supposed to be our nicest day of the trip so far. The highs should be in the mid to upper 40s. It's supposed to be a clear day with the sun shining. We have hardly seen the sun since we started, so we're excited for that. The wind should be dying down. They're not calling for precipitation. We're very excited for what should be a pretty day to do some hiking. We're gonna bomb down into Hot Springs and then pop back up to the top of Ridge Mountain Fire Tower. So we will have a solid climb over the second half of the day, really get the bodies warm.
We'll see how that pop part of that goes.
Yeah, might be more of a slow pop.
Right.
Pop. But we actually haven't seen anyone in about close to 48 hours now. We saw someone about less than an hour into the trip on one of the close trails to the parking lot, and then we did spot one faraway hiker coming by this morning. So we haven't seen too many people out on this trip, and when we look at the weather we've had the past couple of days, it probably makes sense.
Does make sense.
They're a bit smarter than we are. But we're gonna get things packed up and get ready to hit the trail.
Let's do it.
Good stuff, guys. Another beautiful day. Yes, sir. There's a small cemetery here, right off the Appalachian Trail.
That's crazy.
Right above the Deer Park Mountain Shelter. Looks like the graves are from between the 40s to the 60s.
That's a nice little warm-up.
That was a nice warm-up. Like I said, setting the tone for the day. I always like to eat locally wherever the town is in Michigan.
Yeah, for sure.
So if it's up to me, strictly salmon.
We've got our first sighting of the French Broad down there. A couple more miles and we will be at its banks. We're on the Appalachian Trail looking out over the town of Hot Springs, and we can actually see my car down there in the parking lot, which is pretty cool. But we're gonna bypass it and keep going for another day. Woo! Yeah. All right, we made our quick stop in Hot Springs. Now we're walking across the French Broad, and then about to start our climb for the day.
Yeah, buddy, it's gonna be a good one.
Beautiful day. Leaving the banks of the French Broad and heading up, up, up. Beautiful spot for lunch today on a gorgeous sunny day. We are very thankful to have the sun shining down on us. 1 year ago, Joey and I were staying at this campsite right here along the Appalachian Trail. Today we're going to keep going a couple more miles up to the top of the mountain. We've made it up to the retaining wall for the mill pond. It's pretty sweet bit of engineering here. It's probably a good 30-40 feet tall. And the pond on the other side is beautiful as well. And we've made it up to the top of the beautiful mill pond here along the Appalachian Trail. A cool little scenic spot that you don't really expect to see. This was built by an old farming community in the area many years ago.
That's gorgeous.
Made up to this beautiful meadow above the pond. It's a gorgeous day.
Pretty sweet, man. Really pretty day. I gotta take some credit where I can get it.
Home sweet home. We've made it to camp for the night here near the base of Rich Mountain Fire Tower. Got a nice spot up here.
Nice open setup.
And it's been a difficult day, so we're excited to get set up. The fire tower on the peak of Rich Mountain was originally erected in 1932 and served as a live-in lookout until the 1970s. The fire tower was rebuilt in 2018. Rich Mountain Fire Tower with some beautiful models climbing the stairs. 3 days and getting close to 30 miles in so far. What's been your experience out here, Max?
That's been really good. I think the trip was like really well planned out. So I think you did a really good job. It's been, you know, the train's on the tracks and it hasn't derailed at all. But at the same time, and this is a good thing, I think, you know, it's been good difficulty as well. So it's been challenging with the snow and stuff like that.
The snow.
Yeah, and the temperature. I think this is the coldest I've really done this many miles in.
Yeah.
So I think that's...
the wind hasn't let up until just now either. It's been tough.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal. But yeah, I've been having a great time and I'm glad I came out.
Yeah, man.
It's my first trip with you, so
yeah,
I think there'll be many more.
That's right.
Hope so.
Good to have you. Let's take a look at the map for day 3. We started this day at Deer Park Mountain Shelter and then followed the Appalachian Trail down into the town of Hot Springs. From Hot Springs, we then continued on the Appalachian Trail up past Lover's Leap and continued to the top of Rich Mountain, where we set up camp. Day 3 was about 11.5 miles. We've made it to the end of day 3.
All right.
Another great day here on the Appalachian Trail. In my opinion, this was the most physically challenging day of the trip so far. We had a bunch of elevation gain, close to 4,000 feet, but the weather was super nice, sunny, clear. There's basically no wind right now, which is...
That's a welcome break, yeah.
Hallelujah.
It's awesome. We also had a lot of great views today that really kept things going for us. Coming up out of Hot Springs above the French Broad was beautiful.
Oh, that's such a good sight.
I love that little mill pond. To me, it's one of the coolest things to see. The meadow above it's beautiful, and then of course the climax, the view from the Rich Mountain Fire Tower, which was really great with the sun setting. We've got our fire going. It'll probably be an early bedtime for us. And that'll be the end of day 3. Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Made it to day 4. The last day of our trip here along the Appalachian Trail. Another good night for us last night. Fortunately, the wind was kind enough to calm down during the evening and let us relax, but it started back up pretty much right after we went to bed. So a cold wind blowing through all night, but we stayed warm, and here we are today. Another beautiful day. Alrighty, 4 days, another great trip, Joey.
Yeah.
What's been the highlights and the lowlights for you so far?
Well, I'll get the lowlights out of the way. The primary lowlight is that this trip has just been more mentally exhausting than I'm used to. There's maybe about a 3-hour period yesterday where I felt warm. Other than that, every minute of this trip has been some version of cold. And that normally doesn't bother me, but this one's been kind of rough. I haven't been able to get out of it really very much. So
yeah,
that's been mentally tiring. I mean, it's a surefire way to feel beat down at the end of the day. But outside of that, man, I mean, it's just been great. The highlights are endless. We've experienced great weather and very poor weather. And it's always nice when you kind of get a blend of the two. You kind of feel like you're really in an environment when you get a little bit of all the weather. And this just adds to the adventure. And the views have been stunning. Lots of good views of the ridges. Most of the campsites we've been at have had a good view to them. And just, you know, a little corny, just the camaraderie between the three of us. I mean, we've joked around a lot and given each other a hard time about everything. And,
yeah.
and it's just been a good laugh riot, man. It's been a really fun trip just as far as you guys go.
Yep.
And yeah, I had some new gear to bring out on this one to really test out on a trail, and I'm very pleased with all my gear and how everything went, except for that water filter. But that's okay. There's more where you can get those, and it's all around just a big grin on my face overall. Just had to push through some hard trail a couple of times, but no worries. Shows you what you're made of.
That's right.
So it's been a great trip.
Good stuff.
One for the memories, man. Yes, sir.
We've got about 5.5, 6 miles to finish off the trip back into Hot Springs, going down the Roundtop Ridge Trail, and that'll do it for us. We've had a great trip so far. We're gonna get camp packed up and then get ready to hit the trail. Let's take a look at the map for day 4. On this day, we started at our campsite near the base of the Rich Mountain Fire Tower, hopped on the Appalachian Trail for a short stretch, and then took Roundtop Ridge Trail back down into the town of Hot Springs, where we finished our trip. Day 4 was about 5.5 miles, giving us a trip total of approximately 34 miles. We've got a couple obstacles coming down the trail today, but nothing that we can't overcome. Easy enough.
All right, we got Max earning the trail name Beaver. Doing a little trail maintenance here.
Seems like magic. It's like a
If only he'd have been in front of me, then I wouldn't have had to duck under it and take myself out right about there.
The Roundtop Ridge Trail is pretty overgrown with briars and a lot of trees down across it, but we are getting some beautiful ridgeline views coming down. Closing back in on the banks of the French Broad and the town of Hot Springs. There's a big silo here coming down close to the bottom of Roundtop Ridge Trail. I'm not sure what its purpose is. Beautiful day for us. And we're homebound. All right. We've made it to the end of another great trip. Woo. 4 days along the Appalachian Trail from Max Patch to Hot Springs up to Rich Mountain and then back down to Hot Springs. The Roundtop Ridge Trail was a bit gnarly today.
It was a good one.
A lot of overgrown briars and a lot of trees down across the road, or across the trail. So we got through it, and we're here in town, ready to go eat some food. It's a beautiful day, and we're finished up.
Nom nom nom.